Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, taking a look at another 2023 NFL mock draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is the third mock draft we've done, but the first mock draft we've done post-free agency, so getting a little bit of a better sense of how the Steelers want to approach this 2023 NFL draft and what kind of players they're taking a look at. Now, before we get into it, I just want to say thank you to you guys. Truly, the support just means so much. We love making these videos. We love talking ball with you guys in the comment section, and all the support you guys have shown truly means a lot. So if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. But more importantly, let us know in the comment section how you feel about this draft. Even if you don't, if you love it, let me know. If you don't like it, let me know. Let's talk some prospects. Let me know how you're feeling about it, even if you disagree. That is the beauty of NFL draft season, is discussing these prospects, discussing these fits. Without further ado, let's get into this mock draft here. We've talked about it a couple times before. At this cornerback room, Joey Porter Jr. is probably the only cornerback that I'm taking at 17 if available. That being said, you take a look at this cornerback class in general. I think just because of how deep it is, you take a look at some of these cornerbacks that are going to be available on day two, regardless of how NFL teams view these cornerbacks. Like, there's just so many good cornerbacks. There will be cornerbacks that are really good in day two. I'm not necessarily going to jump at the first cornerback available. Joey Porter Jr. is a top 20 guy on my board. I think it would be a solid pick, but Eli Ricks, Julius Brents, Keely Ringo, three of my favorite cornerbacks in this draft. I love Tyreek Stevenson. Even if you go down the board, Jalen Jones, Jacorian Bennett, this class is very, very good. I'm not sure if I'm going to use my first round pick to get a cornerback when I can get another damn good cornerback in the second round or day two, even maybe early day three. What I am going to look at is getting one of the best tackles in this class. And my tackle rankings: Paris Johnson Jr., Broderick Jones, Peter Skoronski, and then Anton Harrison. The discussion around Anton Harrison, and we've been kind of banging the table for him for a while now. He's slowly starting to move himself up boards. Anton Harrison should be in that discussion of Peter Skoronski, Paris Johnson Jr., Broderick Jones type guy. I think that's how good Anton Harrison is. He, in my mind, is the strongest tackle in this class. I think he's got some work to do with his feet. And there's reps on film where it's like, okay, this guy's going to get ran over. The feet aren't there. And then the upper body, so he just locks people up. Like, this dude is young. He's raw, but he's extremely strong, and you can't really teach that. I want to take Anton Harrison here because outside of that, the only other tackle I really like to the Steelers here is probably Darnell Wright, and you're sticking him at right tackle. You can't really play both sides of the ball. And so we're going to go get Anton Harrison here at 17. I really like that pick. It might be a little early. I probably would have preferred getting a guy like Broderick Jones, but I really am a fan of Anton Harrison and what he brings. I think people need to start talking about Anton Harrison a little bit more. Pick 32. I'm the more I've watched Will McDonald film, I get it's not necessarily the biggest position of need, but the more I'm watching Will McDonald, the more I really like his game. In terms of the burst and bend off the line of scrimmage, he's not necessarily the greatest. He doesn't stand up in the run game as much as you would like. He's a little bit small, but out of this edge rusher, pass rusher class, the burst and bend around tackles is next level. I think Felix Anudike-Uzomah is a little bit more of a complete edge rusher. Emmanuel Forbes here too, though. I love. Let's take a look at Emmanuel Forbes. We really haven't talked about him much. This is where I'm a little bit more comfortable taking a guy like Emmanuel Forbes, right? You take a look at what he's done. 6, 9, 14 interceptions in 3 seasons. He gets his hands on footballs extremely well. You look at the passer rating, 44.7, when targeted only 53% completion percentage. The one thing you worry about, 166 pounds at 6'1", but this dude has extremely long arms. He doesn't really let wide receivers kind of bully him because of that length. He uses that length extremely well. I love the idea of taking a guy that, one, I think you can put some weight on him if you're a little concerned, but on the film in the SEC, you didn't really see him get bullied at all. And so I really like Emmanuel Forbes here. I didn't really like him as much earlier at pick 17, but Emmanuel Forbes there at 32 I think would make a lot of sense. 49, I think you got to go linebacker here. That is, like, if you're talking about 2 positions you really want to address, I think, or 3 maybe, tackle, linebacker, quarterback. That's all the stuff PFF has listed. And when you look at the depth chart, I probably agree. I don't always agree with the position needs that PFF has, but I probably agree with these 3. I'm taking a look at linebacker here. This is an interesting linebacker class. I don't love it. I don't think there's a lot of proven linebackers, but Dion Henley is really, really good. He transferred from Nevada to Washington State. He's one of those linebackers that you love at the NFL level in terms of I can do everything you're going to ask me to do. I can carry tight ends up the seam if you want me to. I can go out in space and tackle running backs in the flat. I can go sideline to sideline. He's not necessarily the biggest linebacker like a Jack Campbell from Iowa, but he plays big. Like, he's a very physical linebacker. We didn't really address that linebacker position in our first draft we did with the Steelers. We got Mohamed Diabate at pick 236. Dion Henley's a guy that I think can come in and get serious, significant reps right away and potentially even be a starter. I really like his film. He's a top 3 linebacker on my board, probably a day 1 starter at the next level. Pick 80, 120, 234, and 241 coming up next. Pick 80 here. Whew. Tank Dell. He's just a little too like Calvin Austin, in my opinion. I see Carl Brooks on the board. Carl Brooks is one of my favorite players in this draft. Michael Wilson, I really like Michael Wilson. I'm going to take a look at. I want to do a little building around Kenny Pickett, and I like who they have around him, right? You got Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Freiermuth. Michael Wilson's a guy that can play all over. And the only question mark you have about Michael Wilson is that he hasn't played much. And so you're a little concerned about can you stay healthy because you haven't stayed healthy your whole college career. You saw those Senior Bowl reps at 6'2", 213 pounds. There's not many wide receivers who run as clean of routes as Michael Wilson. And I think what's pushing him downboards a little bit is I don't think the physical traits are quite there, right? I don't think he's the biggest wide receiver, though he's got that boundary 6'2", 213. He's no small guy, but he's not necessarily the fastest either. What Michael Wilson is, though, is one of the most polished route runners in this class. He gets route running. He creates separation early, and that's a best friend for a guy like Kenny Pickett, right? I want to get the ball out of my hands quick. I need wide receivers who can create separation extremely quickly. Michael Wilson can do that. I think Calvin Austin, I wasn't a huge fan of Calvin Austin. I thought he was more of like a gadget player as opposed to like a true wide receiver. Michael Wilson is a true wide receiver. And so I think I would go Michael Wilson here at pick 80. I think the value sets up really well. And again, this wide receiver class in general ain't great. I really do like Tank Dell, but he's very similar to Calvin Austin in terms of very, very small. 120 coming up next. That's a lock. Moro Ojomo. Moro Ojomo's one of my favorite. I like Carl Brooks a lot. I like Moro Ojomo a lot. I want to paint the picture a little bit with Moro Ojomo. 6'3", 290. Oh, he's very small to be playing like that interior, like 3-tech. You take a look at what he's done in the run, and you see this on the film. Like, he takes on double teams extremely well. He's a very, very strong. He's rocked up. Like, he does not have much excess weight on him, and he's extremely strong. But what also he does, which is really rare, is provide some value in the pass rush. Like, it's really hard to find interior defensive linemen who you can play on the field on third down and they can get after the passer. Moro Ojomo has a great burst off the line of scrimmage. He's got phenomenal bend, and that comes from he played a little bit of outside tackle, like that 5-tech. He's played over the tackle at that 4-tech. He's played all over the defensive line. The Steelers like to play kind of a various front defense. I really like that fit. I really like the player. I really like the value. I think that's a really, really good pick for the Steelers at 120. I love when I get to talk about Moro Ojomo because he is one of my favorite players in this class. 234, 241 coming up. Again, you're getting less into positions of need and more who are the best players that are still left on this board. I think maybe you're looking at, we got defensive line, maybe like a swing tackle if he's there. We're going to see who's available here. We got a lot. It's going to be a long day 3 for the Steelers fans. You just got one pick, and then you're waiting for quite a long time. 234, 241. I love Dylan Horton. Dylan Horton's another one of those guys that he's kind of similar to Moro Ojomo, but I like it. He's the best player on this board, I think. He's the best player on this board. Dylan Horton, he's a guy that kind of similar to Michael Wilson. The film's awesome. 34 pressures. He gets it. He had 4 sacks against Michigan in the college football playoff game. Obviously a Michigan fan. I remember them all too well. He's getting pushed on boards because at that edge position, you value the traits. You value the length. You value the burst. He doesn't necessarily have all of that. Didn't really test like that. but the film is great. Like, he gets this position, he plays with an unreal motor. And so if you get a defensive lineman who's going to play hard, like, you can find yourself a lot of production from a guy that's just going to play really hard for you. I feel like Dylan Horton is going to be a Mike Tomlin kind of guy, late round, high motor on the defensive line. And again, like Moro Jomo, can play kind of all over the defensive line, can do a lot of different things. I think that would make a lot of sense. Malik Cunningham here, I don't hate that pick one bit. Did we got any, like, let's take a look here. Mason Cole. There's some centers that I really like late in this draft. Let's take a look at if any of them are available. Alex Forsythe. Alex Forsythe started for Oregon. I like him or Ricky Strohenberg. Alex Forsythe's just played a lot of football at the Power 5 level, and he's played really, really at a high level. I like Alex Forsythe a lot. Taking a look at this draft in general here, Anton Harrison's it's like he's a top 25 guy on my board, so the value is not necessarily horrible. I would prefer Broderick Jones. Broderick Jones, I have as a top 15 player on my board, so I'd really like a Broderick Jones there at 17 overall. I don't think you can go wrong with Anton Harrison. The Joey Porter Jr. pick wouldn't have been bad either, but you get a guy in Emmanuel Forbes who's very similar to Joey Porter Jr. My only concern with Emmanuel Forbes is, I mean, he is really small, like 166 pounds. I wonder if he's going to struggle with some of the physicality he sees at the next level. But again, this dude's battle-tested, 14 interceptions in 3 seasons is absolutely insane number, 4 of which were returned for touchdowns. This dude's a playmaker. Dion Henley falling to 49. Like, Dion Henley, Trenton Simpson. I would probably throw Drew Sanders in there. Those are some linebackers that I'd be taking a look at pick 49 because you do want to address this linebacker class. It's not a great class, but there are some guys that I like. Michael Wilson, I don't get why they gave us a C+ there because I love Michael Wilson. I think he is an early day 2 kind of guy, so you get him in round 3. I like that. Moro Jomo, Dylan Horton, you can't go wrong with either of those guys. Those guys are both going to play significantly. I don't know if they'll be all pros, although I think Moro Jomo could be, but they're going to be really solid defense linemen. And then you get Alex Forsythe. Just eat your vegetables, get a veteran center who's played a lot of football at the college football level. That'll do it for Steelers 2023 NFL mock draft. Again, let me know in the comment section how you guys are feeling about it. Appreciate all the support as usual that you guys have shown. And if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.